Oh boy, got a flag. Oh no, I'm nervous. Come on, bats. All right, receiving team penalty. All right, all right. All right, who's on the Eagles though? All right. All right. I think we're live here. Let's see if I can. Oops. Let's put that back close. There we go. There we go. I think I want to get rid of this guy. There we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Right on, right on. Just got the Patriots game in the background there. What's that? What's that? Yeah. And they're currently in the wild card spot. Yeah, because the 49ers are so much better. All right. You want to say hello to everybody? Huh? Come here. This is my man, Liam. Come on, bud. Hey. He's reporting back on the Pats because we know the Pats going to lose. We know they're going to lose. What's up, Tom? Appreciate you being a moderator. Thank you, sir. All right, Relieve, report back to me. Hey, what's going on, Richard? Mark, Debbie, Angelo, Marie from PA, brother man's on board. James, right on, right on. Kevin, make sure Pablo. Hey, Liam, Debbie Barnes says hello. Ready for my wisdom tonight. Your son looks like you. That's what we call him, Josh Jr. Actually, is this? It looks a little cloudy there too, doesn't it? And son Junior. My wife is cutting my my other son's hair, Jeff K. Paso. So we'll wait till 7:30. My wife is cutting Kevin's hair right now. Did you all ever see the John Heffron thing on Mom Cuts Hair or something like that? I got something on my nose. Yeah. My wife said I had something on my face. Make sure okay. Said there's where Mom cuts hair and she using the same scissors that they used to cut the dog's dingleberries. It's funny. It's so funny. All right, so we'll wait just here a couple minutes. Hey, 24th birthday, Kevin. Right on, man. Right on. Right, so let's see here. Where's old Pablo? All right. Well, like I said, we'll get started here in just a second. So I'll make sure we're live and in person. It looks like we got a question from Lewis. It seems cloudy. Does it not seem cloudy on your end? Or is it just camera? You can't pay it back anymore. You can pay it back for 1 year, my understanding. I don't think you can pay it back the whole 8 years. I think you got 1 year that you can do it. I think that's what it is now. They changed it 2015 where you can pay it back for the first year, but not after that. Yeah, exactly, Jimmy, right on. What's going on, Dave? Jimmy from Georgia. We've got Scott from Georgia, a number of people from Georgia. So let's see here. What would we want to say from the if you're in the Northeast, well, I don't know if you can do a thumbs up. Let's see how we want to do this while we're waiting. From the Northeast, we want to say yes. There you go, Northeast. We just got Jody. Question about funds unclaims capital distribution. I'm not sure what unclaims capital distribution is, Dave. Question about funds unclaims capital distribution. I'm not sure what you mean by unclaims. We just got done watching the Winnipeg Daniel Blue Bombers beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the CFL Western Conference Championship. Went down another guy from Georgia. Man, I was down your neck of the woods today. Eddie was in, I think it's your neck of the woods, Austell. My daughter had a soccer game to go to. Pros and cons of owning. Jody, I had a guy who was kind of disappointed because he's been on the videos with me a long time, and had a guy kind of I don't know. It was disappointing, saying basically, he knows I'm churning out the videos because I make money from it. And I mean, YouTube pays a little bit. I'm not going to lie there. It's nice. It's certainly not enough to pay the mortgage. And, I mean, every bit helps, don't get me wrong. But I don't know. I was kind of disappointed because I like doing it. I mean, it gets me, Marie says she stumbled on C-SPAN town hall with a Democrat from Connecticut. Hard to listen to. Yeah. But anyways, but if you're familiar at all with, you do the things you enjoy, you avoid the things you don't enjoy. I do the things I enjoy, which is YouTube. I don't enjoy, and I like live streaming. I don't enjoy. I type. I don't mind typing on occasion, but it does make my head. It does make my head kind of hurt a little bit, as opposed to just saying what's on my mind and not even kind of thinking about it. So if you do what you enjoy, you're going to do it a lot. Chris from Maine, there we go. Sergio from Florida, Joseph Ford from Alaska, there you go. And so for me, I just like doing it, and so I'll continue to do it because it's enjoyable. It's like the dopamine rush. So I get let's see, had some steaks tonight, didn't do a good job on them, but it still tasted pretty good. So that's a dopamine rush, is to grill some steaks. So another dopamine rush for me is doing YouTube videos, and then what else? I guess not watching football because I know the Patriots are going to lose. But being reported back when the Patriots beat the Eagles, as we used to say in Haddonfield, New Jersey. That's always fun here too. We got another San Diego, Tennessee. I am staying with V Diggs. Yes, sir or ma'am. I am. No, I get it. Jill, what's wrong making money? Yeah, I understood. But it's just at the implication or insinuation was that I'm just doing it to make money as opposed to doing it because I enjoy it. And I don't enjoy it, make money. I do it because I enjoy it. I would do it even if I didn't make money. Obviously I would not be able to do it if I didn't get people who want to hire me for their financial advisor. But, at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. I've had that a couple of times. I had another guy who is favorably inclined towards the channel. It just, again, it's like, same kind of thing. I have a thin skin when it comes to that stuff. The accusations of just kind of peddling stuff in order to make $1, and that just bothers me. As if I don't know. I'm just like, come on, man, come up with a better thing to say. And this guy was like a pastor. And I was like, man, you don't know me, man. I mean, come on. All right, so let's close this door. Another San Diego, Madison, Wisconsin. Jeff, right on. Alfredo yesterday, right on. I thought about stopping by. All right, Lee, hold on just a second. Liam, we got a report? Who's got the ball? Where are the Eagles at? Oh, all right. I'm closing this door. All right, so just do me a favor. Don't tell me until the game's over, then just let me know. All right. So I predict what's it, 17-10 now? I'm predicting 18-17 Eagles first. You heard it here first. All right. I'm going to close this door. Thanks, Bubs. Love you too. All right. How can I avoid taxable distribution at the end of the year? You can avoid taxable distributions, Dave, by not buying the fund. All right. And that's a fact. So if you have a capital gain distribution and you own the fund and you have it as of date of record, you will receive the taxable distributions. Now, this is not IRAs. This is not 401ks. This is not 403Bs. It's nothing. It's only in taxable accounts. So if there is going to be a taxable distribution, and again, here's the Vanguard one, preliminary year-end distributions, and you are the owner of the date of record, which in this case is 12/19, 12/20, 12/16, depending on the fund, you will be hit with a capital gain. Now, be advised, you don't just sell the fund in order to avoid the capital gain distribution, because there's capital gains that you're going to have to pay as well. So mutual funds have two types of capital gains. The internal distributions that the fund has. All right. So the fund has a capital gain. They sell shares, they buy shares, they do stuff internally, and they report that information back to you by law with the Investment Company Act of 1940 or something like that. So even if you just sat on it, you got to pay the distribution tax, capital gain tax. But you also have a tax if you sell the fund. So if you say, I don't want that, I'm going to sell the fund in order to avoid the capital gain distribution, that's probably going to be a significant mistake, because you're sitting on probably a pretty significant capital, unrealized capital gain itself. So the only way to avoid it is not to own the shares, not to own the fund. That's it. I mean, now you can do that by not buying it before the capital gain distribution, and 2, selling it before that. But selling it before that doesn't make any sense unless there is a loss or unless it's trading at even Steven. And now you might have some capital loss carry forwards. I see that few and far between anymore. 5, 6, 7 years ago, a huge capital loss carry forwards, which you could use to offset other capital gain distributions. Those days are pretty much gone now. All those have been eaten up, over the last 10 years. So anyway, at the end of the day, you're kind of screwed. Now, ETFs, yes, Vanguard mutual funds in terms of index funds, and ETFs, they have a provision there that they allow them not to have capital gain distributions, which is wonderful. But if you are in a, we'll just say an American Century Fund, the example I always use, and you have a cost basis of 50,000 is trading at 125 now, and you're worried about avoiding a $10,000 capital distribution. The way to do that would be to either sell the fund before the date of distribution, date of record, which wouldn't make sense because you're going to basically incur a $75,000 realized capital gain in order to avoid a $10,000. Or if you have other losses on the table, you somehow can dispose of to offset the gains that you're going to receive. There's really no other way. Yeah, ETFs are preferable in this regard for sure. Vanguard index funds are fine too, though, without question. So I'm going to go on with keeping Vanguard index funds. It's just because they have some kind of patent. It's Vanguard and Eaton Vance, if memory serves. I mean, Eaton Vance is strange. They have this patent where their funds don't pay, or index funds don't pay capital gain distributions. Now, they still all pay dividends. See, dividends, there's no getting around that. If you got dividends, you're paying the tax on that. So let's see. All right, so we got that. Yeah, nothing wrong making money, Jill. Making money's fine. I don't care how you do it, as long as you do it evilly. As long as you on the up and up, you're not stealing from people. Make money, man. The funny thing is, everybody makes money. Everyone's shooting for number one. That's the thing. Just always give people what's the word I look for? You assume positive intent. That's what the lesson, especially a pastor, man, dude. You always got to assume positive intent with people. It's nuts. South Carolina, Oregon, right on. You're in Alpharetta yesterday and thought about stopping by. You would have missed us because we were at the Virginia Tech game or Georgia Tech game, getting stamped by Virginia Tech. I still love football. I'm not going to lie to you. I enjoy it. I like talking football. I like watching the play calling, the strategies of football. I just like football. I hated playing it because I hated getting hit, but I enjoyed it immensely. I don't watch it as much as I used to, but now that I got my youngest son, who's a big football fan, it's fun to watch it with him. My other son, Kevin, could care less, but Liam is a huge fan. It's just funny because my brother was in town last week, as y'all remember. His youngest also likes football, or his youngest. Well, I guess it's not his youngest son. He's got 4 kids too. His second oldest loves football, so he's watching the Pats with his son as I was watching the Pats with my boy Liam. But of course, as I get nervous, I turn it over to a different game. So I still like football. I still find it funny that the SEC, you get all these teams losing to Division II teams, and yet the SEC is still the strongest conference in football. I don't understand it, but that's the way it is because ESPN, the sad sacks that they are, they have an agenda to promote the SEC over everybody else. And the way you solve the dilemma is a 16-team playoff football. Why not do that? Because it's a communist plot. I'm telling you, freaking Russians have infiltrated the NCAA and the ESPN. We know the ESPN is lefty, just like the commies, but my goodness, not to have a 16-team football playoff is nuts. Hey, thanks, Jimmy. All right. Do you sell a stock that has lost but not owned for more than a year, or you wait for the year and a day? You sell it anytime you want to sell it for a loss, Robert. You sell it for a loss. Absolutely. You have to wait 30 days, so the 31st day in order to pick it back up. So you don't have the wash rules where you can write it off against your other gains for sure. We got Carl and Doug. What's going on in Texas? What's going on with retirement, man? Because of me, your portfolio is up 8%. Yikes, that's kind of scary. How did that happen? Because you know what that tells me, Jody? Because of me, your portfolio is up 8%. That means your portfolio could be down 8% too because of me. Oh no. I do want to talk. I had a lady just got off the horn with not too long ago today, And she's a just man, you know what's awesome about doing what I do is you deal with righteous people. I just I don't know, it's freaking nuts. I charge her a fee because we were going to annuitize a portion of her 401k. She decided against annuitizing, and so she said she sent me a bunch of money because she said because if we didn't end up annuitizing, she should have paid me more. I said don't sweat, it's no big deal. But she sent it to me. I seen have to do that. It's just freaking awesome. And I just love it. Anyway, so I was out there grilling. She was making some yogurt. My alarm was going on. My meat thermometer, my heat meat thermometer, her alarm was going on making yogurt. Long story short, so she was the one I did on doing a lump sum versus a pension. And I said, look, you got to do the pension. 7.2% distribution yield. You just can't beat that. But she did not do it. She did not do it. And the reason she didn't do it, because she doesn't trust California as far as she could kick them, because the pension is based on the California state system. She goes, I can't go to bed at night knowing these ass clowns are in charge of my money. And she said, I just can't do it. And, she didn't need to justify it to me. It's her money. But at the end of the day, this is what I tell people all the time. And I get this a lot. Should I be more in stock? Should I be more in this? I said, are you comfortable? I mean, as long as we establish you're not running out of money, are you comfortable in your current lot in life, the way you're positioned? Yes. Are you having trouble sleeping at night because you have CDs and you don't think you're supposed to have CDs because whatever some guy says on the YouTube? I can sleep well. Okay. Would you be able to sleep well if you went into the market and yes, that might give you more money, but it might not? Would you be able to sleep well? I couldn't sleep well. Then don't do it. Another guy, a good guy, Cuban, from native from Cuban, doesn't live there anymore. He emailed me the other day. Another client said, hey, I just, should I have more stocks? We'll just call this guy, we'll say Tim. We'll say, Tim, why? I mean, you can. I don't have any problem with it, but why? Why do you need more stocks? Because I talked to him and he's, I don't want to say nervous. No, not nervous. No, he's what's the word I'm looking for? Not trust. He's skeptical of the market. He goes, I just don't know. I said, well, don't do it. You're going to be fine. You're not running out of money. Why jump more into stocks if you don't need to? It doesn't, I mean, look, you don't have to do it. It doesn't make sense. If it doesn't allow you to sleep well at night, then don't do it. And that's why I just want to be, the idea that you guys are here, listen to me just spew off at the mouth is nuts. But one thing, if I could just say, if it makes you nervous, don't do it. And I mean, there might be a need that you have to, you might need to work an extra year. You might need to be more in stocks. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but anyway, you might need to do something to avoid, calamity. Well, in that case, you might have to take the risk. But man, if you can feel comfortable getting by on running, and when I run portfolios and analysis, it's always erring on the side of caution. And if we can get you by on that side and you haven't had to take more risk than needed in stocks, I don't see why bother. Liam isn't coming back here. That concerns me. I got a feeling right now I'm predicting Zach Ertz just caught a pass. It's the 1st and goal. Eagles, 34 seconds left at the 3-yard line. I'm predicting that right now. This is it for the touchdown, Tommy. He texted my brother and said they're not going back to the Super Bowl. We'll never in our lifetime we'll see the Patriots in the Super Bowl again. Depressing, man. All right. So anyway, if it's too risky and it makes you lose sleep, and I just don't do it. Life's too short. All right. I love M1 Finance, Tom. I think it's great. I haven't looked too deep into some of the other portfolios they have, but I keep getting the Golden Butterfly one, which I think is on M1 Finance, and I got the Dalio portfolio. And I want to talk about Ray Dalio a little bit because he freaking kind of ticks me off. The Dalio portfolio, but there's a Golden Butterfly one, and I think it was a Dalio portfolio. I haven't dived into those yet, but I'm going to do a couple on them. I think that's pretty interesting, actually, that you can just look, say, hey, there's a Golden Butterfly. I literally have no idea what it is, but I think you just click it and it'll buy it all for you, which I think that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of M1. All I got is I went with a more individual stock dividend portfolio. No fun. Hey, right on, man. I got small cap growth. That's what I got. So I got VDIGX in my IRA. I got VTV in my IRA. And then I got VBK, I think, Vanguard Burger King. I got that in my M1. So I'm just building that puppy up as much as possible. No, because it's an ETF, a Vanguard ETF, no capital gain distributions, very minimal dividends to add to the tax consequence of being self-employed, which is going to be painful this year. My man Rob's in the house, so I love M1, and I think it's great. My man Amar and I were talking. He likes what's it called? It's different than M1. Folio? No, not Folio. Motif. I don't know anything about Motif, but he likes Motif. Rob from Western PA in the house. I asked Rob about Western PA because I was watching the hockey game the other day. The Flyers were on, as I was saying, playing the Caps. And man, I remember when we lived in South Jersey, and I'd be sitting there washing the dishes, and the people who had the house before us that we bought had this little TV, kind of like the size of a small laptop, and you can turn it while you're watching the Flyers game. So I'd be washing the dishes. It'd be cold outside, snow coming down, and you have the hockey game on, and my kids were doing homework right there at the counter behind us while we were living in New Jersey. Oh, it was just awesome. And you had we had a fireplace, wood burn fireplace. It felt like going back in time. I love it. I said, man, I tell my wife, I said, look, I don't know about New Jersey, but man, I miss having a cold winter like that. You got the fireplace going, you got the hockey game on, you got the snow coming down. And the minute I said that, I took Pablo out for a walk yesterday. Boy, I about froze my tush off. I was like, maybe not. I was emailing Rob and said, what's it like in Western PA? And Rob was telling me it's definitely Four Seasons, a good place to be. But I don't know. We'll see. We're going up to Hershey. When are we going up to Hershey? We're going to take a vacay up to Hershey here pretty soon because we love Hershey, man. Hershey is when Charlotte and I had no money, not a pot to piss in, and it was just me, Charlotte, and my oldest. I think we had Chloe. Maybe we even have Chloe by then. Maybe we did, but it was just Charlotte, me. We didn't have a pot to pee in, and just we had, I can't remember, somehow we were able to, get like $2,000 or $3,000 saved up for a trip to Hershey. And ever since then we've gone, we used to go like every year, breakfast with Santa. Oh, it's awesome. So we're going back this year now that we have a little bit more money to live on, to enjoy it. I can't wait. It's fantastic. So Hershey, PA, look out, the Scanlons are coming. Lock up your doors, guard your daughters, because I got 3 boys. Actually, Pablo won't be coming with us. Actually, we have to put him in a kennel, which is scaring, because last time we did that with our dogs, Stout, my old dog, came out and he was a different dog after that. All right, let's see what else we got going on. Appreciate it again. So I appreciate y'all being here. I love it, man. I'm still amazed every time I say something. You guys, it's crazy. It's awesome. Ooh, anyway, for those of you, if you didn't see my other video, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, I'm telling you got to get off the snide right now and get that sucker done. You got to start building up an audience. You got to build it up. And the way to do it is just do a video every day, every single day. It doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, you want to have something to say. I don't know what it would be. You could talk about, I still have this tax my man sent me when I first started the channel. This is the income tax, the very first one from 1913. This is one of the very first 1040s out there. So maybe you collect old stuff. You just say, hey, go through your old stuff and start posting it. You got to start building an audience. You got to do it now, because I'm telling you, I'm telling you, at some point, which I find to be weird to me, they're going to demonetize any. I heard a yell. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I don't know if that was a groan or a yell for joy. But anyway, so if you're going to do a YouTube channel and they don't find you commercially viable, I don't know, they're not going to let you on, because they can't afford all these people uploading all kinds of stuff. They can't. So you got to get on there now to build an audience so you can be commercially viable. I'm telling you, do it ASAP. If I sell your shares before you will avoid taxes. Yes, sir. Yep, you got it, man. Marie, right on, Marie from PA. I have an HSA in a bank. Can I load money into the account while I work and withdraw when I'm retired? I have an HSA in the bank. I load money while I work. Yeah, absolutely. You can't contribute to an HSA, Marie, once you're on Medicare. That's 65. You can't contribute then, but you can certainly use it when you're retired. Absolutely, without question. That's one of the benefits of the HSA. Unlike an FSA, which is use it or lose it, an HSA, it just compounds year over year over year, which is freaking awesome. And you can use it for other stuff to pay for health care. And it comes out tax-free. So it won't affect your Medicare taxes for under IRMA. It won't affect your AGI. All right, what happened, man? All right, hold on a sec. I can't do it. I gotta wait for Lane to tell me. What funds don't have end of the year distributions? So all funds, I mean, if it has a dividend, it's going to have an end of the year distribution, most likely quarterly, as a matter of fact. So dividends typically pay out 4 times a year. Capital gains typically pay out 1 time a year, and that's going to be the end of the year. So, I mean, any actively managed fund, for the most part, will have end of the year distributions. Most ETFs won't, because they're not taxable. I mean, I don't know about iShares. I do know about Vanguard, that just not. And index funds typically don't. And I mean, but even if they did, it'd be small potatoes, because index funds don't have a lot of trading. The issue is you really want to avoid actively managed mutual funds outside of an IRA or a Roth, because the actively managed mutual funds are going to have the buying and selling and buying and selling. And they don't care about short-term, long-term. They're just doing there to maximize the money that they're making, gross of taxes. They could care 2 craps about taxes to you, man. So you don't want actively managed funds outside of an IRA. You want them in an IRA or Roth, and your index funds. So what I have is, I have my Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund in my IRA, and I have my VBK, my Vanguard Small Cap Growth ETF, outside my IRA. At what student loan interest does it start to make sense to invest rather than pay it off? Yeah, no, that's all right, Kevin. Kevin says not retirement related. That's fine. I just put retirement on there because it gets more algorithm props from YouTube to say retirement. If you actually look at Google keywords, more people type in retirement planning than they do financial planning. I try to throw a different title on occasion just to try to click the YouTube algorithm. I don't try all that hard, frankly. It kind of bores me, but you still, who was I watching? I was watching somebody's channel the other day. I said, man, you got to change someone on my, I forgot who was. Who was that? I can't remember. I said, you got to change your titles, man. You got to change them. Your titles are horrible. You still want the YouTube algorithm to pick up on your title. So I always try to do something that will generate. I do so many videos. I don't do it that much, but once a day, I try to get a title that will generate YouTube to show me some algorithm love. Man, at what student interest rate does it start to make sense to invest rather than pay it off? I just think you got to pay it off, man. I just, going back to my book I mentioned earlier today that I'm reading right now, The Forgotten Depression. We had a case. Let me see if I can't find it. I don't think I elaborated too much on this today. We had a guy right here. In the boom of 1919, so this is the post-war boom that was later followed with a post-war depression, the Steel Corporation, U.S. Steel, had the foresight to lay in a $45 million inventory reserve. It was clear to the front office that the ruling inflated values would sooner or later come back to earth. Now, the reason I state that is because I'm not saying we're inflated bubble territory, not saying that at all, but we haven't had much of a sell-off. We've had a couple. May of this past year, we're down 7% in like 3 weeks' time. The last quarter of 2018 was essentially a quick bear market. We had July through August 11, 2011 is down like 20% in 45 days or something like that. But basically over the last 10 years, we've had just tiny small potato drops. So the issue, and all right, why do I say it? Because if you look, everyone says, everyone thinks that the U.S. stock market is like, it's inevitable. It's like God's spoken truth that the market will give you 8, 9, 10%. We don't know that. Just because it had, if we look at the first part of the century, is the first part of the century an anomaly, or is the first part of the century the rule now? Because from 1910 until 1960, we were the only game in town. I mean, Europe was a freaking basket case. I was just reading how easy we forget how bad it was in Europe after World War I. I mean, the damage done, just the freaking wars, man. Oh, I hate them. But anyway, at the end of the day, the economy was just in ruins. We were the only game in town. Same thing after World War II. The only game in town was us. We were the emerging market who became the dominant player. That's the way it was. So we were, if you look at all these other countries, they weren't like that. So their markets, I think, like one country I think did better than us. So off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was. Is it Australia? I can't remember. But anyway, that's it. So if you take, we'll just say 100 countries, And basically we were in the top 1, 2, or 3, I can't remember, but so we were in the top, so everything is here, but we are way up here. And people were saying, well, the US market has averaged XYZ since 1926 or whatever you want to do. Yeah, but we were the exception, not the rule. So what's to say the rule hasn't changed now where we're living in that today over the last, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to say, Kevin, is the debt is not the exception or the rule, because it is. There's no speculation on the debt whatsoever. We know for a fact what your debt is. Oh, what's up, buddy? What's the score, bud? What was it, Chloe? The Patriots. Oh boy. All right. So Pablo was supposed to report back the score. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is the debt will be there. We know for a fact the debt is going to cost you something. We know for a fact it's going to be a drain on your cash flow. And why risk? It just seems to me, why risk it? Because I can get more in stocks. Maybe, maybe not. But we know for a fact that debt will be there. I would just pay the sucker off and be done with it. Get a clean slate, and then start building away into other things for sure. Now, if you got to get a mortgage to buy a home, I get that. But I would just pay off all the debt, Kevin, and just start from scratch for sure. Your light is causing glare on the screen. Ooh, there we go. Maybe that's better. All right, cool. Mary, que paso? Mary from Connecticut. Index Universal Life. Doug is trying to sell one. What are we trying to accomplish with it, Doug? That's all. I mean, at any time someone's trying to sell you something, what is it we're trying to accomplish? That's what we got to say. So what's the point? I mean, we got a death benefit. Do we need the death benefit? We got a guaranteed rate of return of, I don't know what it'd be, the crediting rate. Index Universal Life, always remember, what are we trying to accomplish? Do we need the death benefit? Do we need the guarantees on the returns? What's the participation rate? All right, so if the market goes up 100, are you participating in the full amount? And does that include dividends? And so you got these cap rates, you got these participation rates. A lot of times they don't include dividends. Just so many things thrown in there. And we just got to say, what is the problem we're trying to solve? Until I hear the problem we're trying to solve, I don't know if it's any good or not. My inclination is not, because you're taking two things and putting them into one. And usually when you combine insurance and investing, you're not getting the best of either, frankly. You're not getting the best of investing, and you're not getting the best of insurance. So in IUL, you got participation rate, capital rates, you're not using dividends. Fees are freaking extraordinarily high to begin with. I just want to make sure Pablo doesn't have a diarrhea. He had a diarrhea earlier today while I was doing a video. Go Hokie, that's right. Do you like fixed index annuities after retirement? I'm not a fan of fixed index annuities, just the same reason for the Index Universal Life, the same exact reason there. But I do like fixed annuities. Yeah, I'm a fan of fixed annuities as a bond replacement for sure. I've got Jim in Minnesota. I saw Minnesota took it on the chin the other day to Iowa, the first loss of the year. Cleveland literally beating on the Steelers, Rob. Cleveland literally beating on the Steelers. And all the SJWs at ESPN saying, it's Mason Rudolph's fault. Is there any, I'm trying to think, is there anyone more annoying than Shep Smith, who's no longer with Fox News, or Max Kellerman with ESPN? I see these guys that say, oh, you guys must just, it's the self-righteous, can you imagine just like drinking a beer with these guys and just say, oh, I would rather listen to Cher sing. What's the report?
Patriots won.
Yes. What was the score?
17-10.
Whew. What happened?
Carson Wentz tried Sean Mary.
Yes. Just like I said, the Patriots gonna win, just like I predicted. You want to just take him real quick, see if he's got a poop? Tell that pastor my videos are helping people retire happy. Actually, I want to. Hey, thanks, bud. All right. Yeah, there you go. You have to make. All right. Probably. Yeah, I just did. Hey, Starling. I want to see a 16 playoff. Why 6, man? I mean, you got 2 teams get a bye. I don't like that. Why not just 8? At least start with 8, Starling. Now that trades are free in many places, why not mirror a high fee ETF or mutual fund on your own? Okay. Everyone's asking for you, Stanky. Yeah, I don't like that, Mike. I would just say buy the ETF. Nowadays, hell, why not just buy the ETF and forget all that stuff, in my opinion. How how do you switch modes of saving to spending? I'm concerned that I'll continue to save 15% of my retirement income. These savings will be in addition to our sync funds. So my man Richard says, "Hey, Harry, what's going on? What's going on? How's it? You haven't moved yet, right?" So how do you? That's Richard. That's a big. I think you're making a good point. So Richard says, "How do you switch from saving to spending?" And I think a lot of people don't do this well, and thus they get very, very nervous on spending because they're used to 40 years of saving, and they get nervous when they see that A, not only are not saving money, but B, they're pulling money out. That makes them nervous, man. And I get it. I don't know the answer to that, Richard, but I will tell you, Richard Thaler, who won the Nobel Prize for behavioral economics, it's actually funny because Nassim Nicholas Taleb takes issue with this. I actually disagree with Taleb, but I totally agree with Thaler here. Someone's doing something weird over here. I just want to make sure he's not pooping. But he said what happens is when you're spending from principal as opposed to spending from income, you're less likely to spend because people have this adverse reaction of seeing their principal decline. So they will spend less regardless of how much principal they have and regardless of their ability to afford it, because it makes them nervous to see the principal decline. Whereas they're spending from income, it's like, hey, that money's there. As long as I get my job, as long as I have my annuity, as long as I have Social Security. So I think one of the ways, I can show you guys this. Oh, you gonna stop? You're just doing funny stuff. I love that dog. If I could only tell you how much I love that dog. All right. Yeah, he knows I'm looking at him. Oh, man. Someone sent me a picture of their little version of Pablo. It's awesome. Anyway, the way to do it is to get an annuity, get an income annuity, where you say, look, I'm going to put $100,000 into an income annuity. It's going to pay us $5,500 a year over the course of my wife and my life. And when you do that, you're going to make sure that you will spend simply because you're saying that money's coming in as an income stream. And then the rest of the money you can leave as principal without worrying about too much about it. And that's the way to do it, Richard. Just get a little bit of an income annuity, regardless if you need it, regardless of the spreadsheeting and all that. Just say, I want to spend some extra money so I don't feel guilty about not saving. And that's the way to do it, because we know I hate to say fact, but we know from behavioral finance theory, which I actually subscribe to, people get less inclined to spend from principal than they do from income. And because of that, if they have income, they're more likely to spend as opposed to principal. So that's something. Other than stocks, bonds, gold, and real estate, what have you seen that people use for investments? Stocks, bonds, some horses, believe it or not. I had a guy I was working with once. He was raising horses to race, and I think he had one in the Kentucky Derby or something like that. I mean, I don't know any first thing about horses. I wouldn't want to do that, but he was making money. What else? And businesses, Jeff, businesses. I mean, you can invest in businesses for sure. Now, I don't know if that's a stock so much, but there was a guy a long time ago, when I say long, like 20 years ago, not like 1910, who talked about investing in people who had not the product, but the person. I thought that's pretty interesting. Some economist. And he said, and I always thought this was funny. If I sold 10% of my future earnings for $100,000, I thought that was incredible. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how contractually, but that goes back to biatical settlements, Jeff. And look, I don't see how that is legitimate simply because a biatical settlement is you're buying the life insurance on someone you don't know. And that, I don't know how that flies, because life insurance has to have an insurable interest. So if Jeff were to buy a life insurance on me, Jeff, if I die, he's better off. So he actually has an inherent benefit for me to die. That's not an insurable interest, but somehow biatical settlements are allowed. It's weird. Look, I have no problem with it as long as people aren't killing people to get the death benefit. But anyway, so what this guy was saying is you invest in the person, not the business. I thought that was incredibly interesting. That never really went anywhere, but I thought it was interesting to say, okay, when my dad took me to Pimlico one time, and this is in Baltimore, so if you don't know horse racing, I've always enjoyed horse racing. I've never been a gambler because it scares the hell out of me, because I know I'm an addictive guy and I get into it big time. but he always said you bet the jockey, not the horse. And there's a guy named Kent Desborough. This is back in 85, 86, and I'm not sure what happened to Kent. But we won money betting on Kent Desborough. I think we skipped school one day, went up to Pimlico and bet, and it was, man, we had a blast. It was a blast. I freaking loved it. I could easily have seen myself living at the tracks and, you know, being a bum, living on a van down by the river. But you always bent the jockey, not the horse. And same kind of thing with mutual funds. Same kind of thing with companies. I mean, you bet the guy, you bet the lady. You know, you bet Warren Buffett as opposed to Berkshire Hathaway or something like that. And anyway, so I don't know how you do that, you know, legitimately. I don't know how to say, I like that guy. I like, I don't know, Richard Story. I like him. I'm going to bet on him and invest in him. I don't know how you do that, but you got to find businesses where you can invest in that, you know, the person and say, that guy, he's a winner. I'm going to invest in him. Let's see here. Right on, Rob. All right. HSA, yeah. Patriots won 17-10. Yes, right on, right on. Oops. Pablo kidnapped. Man, for a lawyer, my man Rob every now and again has a good joke or two. It's funny. I put you on a 55 inch in my living room, man. I hope I got no freaking snots hanging in my nose. That'd be kind of nasty. Pablo's watching the football game. Pablo, he's a soccer fan. He's a soccer fan. What is a good way to leave my granddaughter a small inheritance? Someone suggested life insurance on her mother. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, all right, so then you got to watch out for the unholy trinity, Robert. The unholy trinity is you own it, your daughter is the insured, and your grandchild is a beneficiary. You can have that, but just at the death of the insured, when the proceeds pay to the beneficiary, that's literally a gift. And there's gift tax too. It's actually probably not a big deal in this day and age because the gift tax exemption, but the unholy trinity, you don't want that. You don't want the insured, the beneficiary, and the owner to be three different people. All right, so here's what I have for my kids. I got 4 kids, excluding Pablo. I got 4 kids. All right, so I have paid 20-year paid up whole life insurance on all 4 of them, and I got $50,000 each. So I got actually 2 policies, one with Knights of Columbus and one with USAA. And so after 20 years, each will have a 50,000, in this case 100,000, 50,000 with KOC, 50,000 with USAA, a paid up life insurance policy. Or I pay, I think $300 a year or something like that for 20 years for each of them. So it costs $600 a year for each of them. After 20 years, they'll have $50,000 of paid up life insurance. And I think with the Knights, they have the dividends where USA doesn't. Anyway, long story short, there's a good chance for paid up additions, PUA, paid up additions with Knights of Columbus, which is pretty sweet. So I'm a fan of that because after 20 years, my kids will essentially be 20, 23, 24, 25 at that point. I give them policies. I said, you can keep it on yourself. You can cash out whatever the cash balance is. It might be $15,000, $20,000 of cash value. I have no idea. But it might be a decent amount of money cash value. You can keep it as a paid up life insurance. You can add more to it. All kinds of different things you can do with the policies, depending on the provider, the issuer. The one at USAA is freaking awesome. It had I forgot what the LEO option, life events option, LEO, where they could actually increase it up to 8 times the initial death benefit, I think is what it was. Like every time they turn 20, they turn 25, they turn 30, they turn 35, they can increase the death benefit up by 8 times. So up to like $400,000 if memory served, without having to be underwritten again. All right. Now that they still have to increase a premium and they don't get it paid, that, USA doesn't give it away for free or else everybody do it. But, let's say they're 25 years old and they can't get life insurance for some reason because of whatever. Well, now they have the guaranteed insurability option, or the life events rider is what it's called, where they can increase their premium, they increase their life insurance by a significant amount of money with every stage of their life up to 40 years old or something like that. Now, the reason I like that is because you're teaching your kid about money, you're guaranteeing a life insurance contract for them for sure. You're buying the life insurance when they're young, when it's as cheap as can be. and you're guaranteed in insurability, which they'll never, unless they cash it out, they'll always be there. Now, that may or may not seem like a big deal, but those whole life policies, once they're paid up, they can really accumulate over many years. I mean, I grant you, many, many, many years' time. I'm a huge fan of those things. Now, would that be an inheritance for her? Not necessarily, because inheritance means that your death, is the way I look at it. That's when, little Joni will get the money. But I think buying a life insurance policy on the kid is a wonderful, wonderful thing, because it's just, you can see the cash value accumulate. You can see how life insurance works. You're not out a huge amount of money. I think it's great. And a lot of these things, if they're under the age of 18, they're essentially, I don't want to say guaranteed issued, but they're pretty easy to go through underwriting. They don't need blood. They don't need a urine sample or anything like that. Secondly, I'm a huge fan, I've said this a million times a Sunday, of second to die life insurance. So we got, Robert and his better half, Nancy. All right. So we got Rob and Nancy. All right. Nancy is younger, probably better looking, and she's healthy, we'll just say. So what happens now is Rob and Nancy buy a second to die life insurance policy. And what that means is we're going to kill Rob off first, but when Rob dies, it doesn't pay death benefit. It pays on the second to die. That's why it's called second to die. And so, hey, Rob, I said some good things about you, and Rob pays me money. Well, if I knew you're going to pay me money every time I said something good, this whole thing would be, hey, Rob, that guy at Pittsburgh, he's awesome. I appreciate it, brother. But anyway, so second to die life insurance, man, this is the most underutilized version of life insurance there is. And it's at some point, I wish I could sell this stuff and make money off it, because I love it. But I never will again, because I just don't want to do that. But man, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so what you're doing is you're saying, okay, and Charlotte and I had that, all right? We cashed in 2 years ago when I first started the business, because I needed the money, because I was worried that, I was going to run out of money. And I don't have any qualm of cashing in. Well, anyway, long story short, because you're buying it on 2 lives, you're insuring 2 lives, not one. And because 2 lives are going to last longer before the insurance company has to pay it out than 1 life, it's a hell of a lot cheaper. So let's just say Rob has diabetes and is 800 pounds overweight, but Nancy's a freaking stellar of health, right? Nancy can lift Rob up over her head, throw him every time he forgets to do the dishes. So what they're going to do is they're going to underwrite it based essentially on Nancy's life, because they say, as long as Nancy doesn't start freaking smoking cigarettes, she's going to be around a long time. So even if Rob kicks the bucket tomorrow, Nancy's going to be around a long, long time, which means we're going to get these premiums for a long time. So what happens here is they say, Rob's not in the greatest shape, but Nancy's a Superman or Superwoman. We're going to give them a pretty good underwriting. We still got to take into consideration, Rob's smoking a carton of Cools a day, and he's got diabetes, and he just, he watches the freaking Patriots, and he wants to stick his head down the toilet and flush because they're never going to back to Super Bowl again. He's really depressed by that. So we know he's probably not long lived, but Nancy's going to be around for a long, long time. All right. So we know Nancy's going to be here. So we're going to get these premiums for a long time, which means the life insurance is a hell of a lot cheaper than it would be for buying individually, because it doesn't pay out on the first death. It's, I'm telling you, man, the second to die life insurance. Now, don't take this wrong, because a lot of people hear this name and say, ooh, but Jerry Falwell, there's a university called Liberty University. Now, you may or may not be familiar with Liberty, but they have just, on the last 20 years, they've exploded on the scene as a kind of like a right-wing school for conservative Christians in Lynchburg, Virginia. There's Liberty University 20 years ago. It's like, what the hell? Nothing. But now they're like, they literally, they compete. I think they went to NCAA tournament last year. They might have won the first game. Their football team is somewhat competitive. It's nuts. And the reason was for that is because Jerry Falwell Sr. bought life insurance policies to pay off at his death. He bought them when he was young. So that way he didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for the insurance, if that makes sense. So the best way to leave inheritance is life insurance, without question. The best way to get life insurance is when it's the cheapest, which is when you're young and in good health. If you're married and you can buy it on 2 lives, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than buying on yourself. So anyway, long-winded answer to this, but I'm a huge fan of using life insurance for beneficiaries and for inheritance. On top of that, life insurance is tax-free. Right now, my man Robert Barry lives in Massachusetts. It's not estate tax-free in the state of Massachusetts if he or Miss Nancy is the owner. I don't know what his wife's name is. But if they own the money, they own the life insurance. It is included in their estate. All right, just be advised. In the state of Massachusetts, Commonwealth, for all of y'all live in Massachusetts, if you have an estate over $1 million, you have an estate tax, and it's not small potatoes either. You know, the first, I think, $1 million after $1 million is not much. I can't remember, but it gets pretty big. I think once your estate break, it's like 10%, something like that, 16%, depending on how much. But I mean, literally, it's everything you own is included in your state estate tax in Massachusetts. So if you have a 401k, a house, and life insurance, you know, you have an estate tax issue. So be careful on life insurance in your estate, depending on what state you live in. If old Bernie takes back over and he starts going after the rich people and reducing his estate tax, like Charlie Rangel proposed under Obama's first term, I think it was like 1 million, we're all doomed, because any house, any life insurance, any asset you own is included in your estate. I'm telling you, everyone in the mom says life insurance is tax-free. That's not true. I'm telling you, they're wrong. Explicitly, unequivocally, wrong. Life insurance, if you are the owner, is absolutely included in your estate. Without question, it is. And so my man Rob here, be careful, because if you're doing life insurance where you are the owner, it will be included in your estate. And the Massachusetts old, I guess Baker, right now he's the Republican governor of Massachusetts, but old Devil Patrick, whatever that guy's name is, he wants your money because he wants to take it to Bain Investments. All these Bain guys can kiss my butt. I should do a video. Bain Investments can kiss my butt. That's Romney and Patrick. All right, so that's a long-winded answer. I'm a fan of. I'm not a Target funds. No, I like JP. I like the Vanguard Life Cycle funds at Vanguard better than. I'm not a fan. I don't hate the Target funds. I got no problem with them. Just I like the Life Cycle because the Target funds progressively get more conservative as you age, and the Life Cycle funds are just static. They stay the same asset allocation, you know, for first year or 25,000 years later on. Hey, retiring 1120. Wow, right, Patrick. Don't say all this if that's and please don't look. I appreciate you saying all this, but your name isn't that common, so someone could easily find you and see how much money you have. So I appreciate that, brother. Fantastic. Just try not to put too much info on, you know, the bots. You know what I'm saying? The bots here. The you know, some people are not are up to no good. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, my man Patrick says he's got a pretty good amount of money set aside. Thanks to you, as Alfred. Yeah, right on, dude. A freaking 63 and a half. He's going to buy Cobra and go to Medicare for the next 18 months. Love it. Yeah, that's Pablo saying, yes, Tom Brady, with his piercing blue eyes. My man Starling says there's a comparison of the golden butterfly to the Ray Dalio all-weather on the internet. Just real quick on Ray Dalio, I had a chuckle at Ray Dalio talk. He says they should raise taxes because, you know, we don't have equal opportunities in the United States. And I said, Ray Dalio, what's keeping you, brother? Well, pay more. I mean, my God, no one's putting a gun to your head and saying don't pay more taxes. I hate rich people who say we should pay more taxes. Do it. Pay more taxes. Why? I don't know. What is holding you back? And yet Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, all these rich guys, they do that giving freaking commitment thing where they're going to give 80% of their freaking assets to charity when they die. All right, well, then you don't need the deduction then. Let's get rid of all that crap, man. Get rid of all the deductions. Yeah, that's freaking. He's like, there's no equal opportunity in the United States. There is equal opportunity, man. Just stop with that crap. And then what did he say about he took a $22 million Connecticut married my friend Mary in Connecticut. Old Ray Dalio took a $22 million subsidy to keep his firm Bridgewater in wherever the hell he lives in Bridgewater, Connecticut, I guess. I don't know. He goes, yeah, probably should have done that, but I want to talk about other things. The level of hypocrisy drives me insane. Why does a rich guy need a $22 million tax subsidy to stay in Connecticut? But he says, we ended up paying billions of dollars of taxes anyway. Then why'd you take the subsidy? Can't stand that stuff. Mike says, I'm paying for all medical out of current money and saving HSA funds for nursing. Freaking awesome idea, Mike. You are the man. So Mike says he's saving his HSA to pay for his nursing home or other stuff later on in the future, because you can use the HSA to pull out for other things once you are on Medicare. You just can't add to it. I think that's right on. The poker pilot is my biggest fan. If that is true, you need to come pick up some Pablo treats that he leaves for you. I think the best time of year to buy a car is in March, right? Isn't that what I heard? After the new ones go off, and the old, from the 2020 models are now old news, even though we just started the year, Marie. I think that's like March, February, March. I'm not a car salesman, but I used to be a guy I was in the Army with Sergeant Myers, who spoke German of all things. And we went to Germany during Reforger back in 88, 89 or something like that. He was what they do is they drop you off on trucks, deuce and a half or 5 tons in the middle of someplace in Germany, and you just have to walk across the country with rifles and everything. And you have to communicate with everybody. We didn't know how to say anything in German other than donkey shorts. Sergeant Meyer, though, he did, but he was a car salesman in Ohio someplace, Youngstown, I think. Before he went in the Army to better his career. He's a good guy. Big, tall Sergeant Meyer. I'll never forget that. He's a good guy. So, my man, Poker Pilot, who I know who this is, says, not in the spring. Prices go up because people get their tax returns. Interesting. I didn't see. I thought I heard maybe he's talking February. I thought it was the beginning of the year, like February, March. I might be wrong. Yeah, okay. Well, this is literally 30 years ago, so maybe I'm wrong. All right, Dan Youngs. So Tom says he hears between Christmas and New Year's, but before, all right, that's right. When can I touch my 401k? No, without being penalized. Can I not at 54? No. Chad, you can't touch your 401k unless you separate from service after the age of 54 and you keep your 401k with said employer. I'm telling you. Everyone screws this up. Now you can do a 72T, and that's fine. Look it up. I've never been a fan of 72T. People get all consternation about that. I don't think people know the rules on that very well. Now, if you can do it and you can do it with knowing the rules, more power to you. But anyway, once you separate from service after the age of 54, i.e. 55 or above, and you have a 401k and that 401k is kept at that employer, you have access to it without penalty. That's fact. That's in the IRS rules. And I've probably need to do another video on that because I literally read verbatim. If you're a first responder, which includes FBI, Border Patrol, ICE agents, ICE, oh my goodness, we got to protest, ICE. Freaking nuts, man. What the hell's going on with college kids? They're freaking insane. Anyway, it includes obviously medics, cops, firemen, EMTs. It's 50 after 49 if you separate from service, and you have a TSP is part of it, by the way. So if you're a first responder and you separate from service after 49, you have access to your TSP or your employer plan for your county, for your municipality, for the state, whatever you got, without having to pay a penalty on it. As long as it's kept there, just be advised. You got it, Rob. Rob says, thanks for my channel. Thank you for being here, kind sir. 54 with enough to retire, but cannot make the psychological change. 30 years of savings and investing. So I'm a struggle with becoming a spender and saver. I get it. I get it. Yeah, I mean, you've been saving your whole damn life. How do you combat that? Like I told whoever asked for that before, I think I forgot who said it. I would turn some of my money to an income annuity, and you maybe took $50,000 there. I don't know. A $50,000 income annuity probably pay you, $2,700 a year. So it's not much, but you'll immediately see a reduction in your portfolio. It won't be subject to penalty either. If you're doing an annuity, an income annuity is not subject to penalty. Will be subject to income tax. That's one way to do it. That's one way to do it for sure. Do the bucket approach, man. Say, I got this much money right here. I'm going to spend that each and every year. I'm going to leave the rest outstanding and just let it roll. Roll Tide. Yeah. Roll Tide. Alabama. Yes. SEC. Yeah. let's see, who's my favorite SEC team? Probably Texas A&M. I do like Texas A&M. I've always been a fan of Texas A&M. Didn't Dak Prescott go? Did he go to Texas A&M? Roll Tide. When can we expect your next book? Well, I'm done with all my videos now on my course. Now I just got to put I got to add my various links. It's not going to have much of verbiage. It's just going to be a bunch of videos. I think I got like 35 videos on there. So I'm done with all the videos. I just got to add the links where I want to show, like the earliest year of eligibility for Social Security and whatnot. And I hope, see, going back to what do I do? Do I like doing videos or do I like doing editing stuff? Oh my God. So I got all these videos down. I'm like, oh, I got to watch this and edit it and just look at myself and say, oh, it pains me. But I got to get it because I don't want to put a piece of crap out there. But anyway, so I'm always saying, maybe I could do a video on, Pablo taking a dump in the house as opposed to looking at my course, which I could get money on, but it pains me because I just don't like editing stuff. It bores me to death. Anyway, when that's done, I got the gist of my You Can Retire on the Wellington Fund done. I just got to finish it up and just put it in words. I got all the spreadsheets done. Now I just got to put the words. So usually when I start typing, if I get up, at 5 o'clock in the morning, which we do because Stink Butt over here, who I love, by the way, it's a very much a term of endearment. I just start typing. I'm done in 2 weeks time typing, take a week to edit it, and I'm done. So the hard part's the spreadsheets. So I already got all that done. A good Vanguard, anything. So El Catrine says, what a good funds to hold in an IRA, Vanguard funds. Anything is dividends, my man. So I don't have a Roth, but the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund, the Value Index Fund, anything that's heavy on the dividend side should always be in a Roth IRA without question. You don't want that in a taxable account if you can avoid it because the dividends you accumulate are taxable as income to you. Now, not ordinary income, but it certainly could be taxable to you as 0, 15, 20, or 23.8, depending on what your tax bracket is. Whereas if they're in a Roth, they're completely tax-free. So anything dividend, anything value-oriented, anything that has a lot of capital gains. So like the Vanguard Healthcare Fund, like I said the other day in my video, it's going to have almost a 7% capital gain distribution here come 12/16 is the declaration date. So whoever owns this on 12/16 is going to get 7% return to them as capital, as a capital gain. A vast majority presumably be long-term. But on top of that, and the supplemental distribution in March of 2019 had another like 6 or 5% distribution. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 5 actually. So you're talking 12%. If you had $100,000 in the Vanguard Healthcare Fund, you get 12,000 that's coming back to you as a capital gain. I mean, that's freaking real money, man. So you want that in a Roth. Any active managed fund, any fund that has a dividend heavy concentrations, man, those should be in Roth IRAs for sure. We have a few dividend paying funds that are taxable account. What's the easiest way to find out what if dividends will be paid next month? I would look at last year, Deb, R24. Just look at what it paid last year and that'll give you a pretty good gauge. So you'll say, okay, I have, Vanguard Value Fund. Right now we know the dividend yield is 2.3, whereas last year the dividend yield is 3. The dividend yield is irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant if you've owned the shares. People get so upset when I say this. They say, oh, you're not talking about dividend yield. You're talking about yield on acquisition. So I said, it doesn't matter. What did you pay for the shares? What does the actual dividend it pays? That's your specific dividend yield. So the dividend yield that is showing today is completely irrelevant. It's the actual dollar per share, the dollar per share. So you can look at last year. You can say, okay, my Vanguard, Prime Cap Fund paid $2 a share. I had 100 shares, so I got $200 of income from that dividend. Probably increases dividend by 6% this year, so that'd be $212 this year. That's a pretty good gain. So just look at last year. Look at quarter 4. What did it pay? All right, because quarter 1, 2, and 3 is already behind you. What did it pay in dividends in quarter 4, which is historically always the biggest dividend amount you're going to get? And say, okay, add 6%. I mean, something like that. You don't have to, but I just say to be cautious, say, okay, if it paid $1, it's probably going to pay $1.06 this year for dividend. Hope that makes sense. So just look at last quarter's dividend payout. You can do that on Morningstar. You can just look at the fund and see Q4 dividend distribution, always going to be December. Are mutual fund better than ETF? Nah, I mean, it depends, man. At the end of the day, I like index funds, so I think it's six in one hand, half dozen the other. ETFs are a little bit more tax efficient for sure. Index funds from Vanguard are just as tax efficient. Drawback about ETFs is it's awful hard to get dollar cost averaging going in unless you do it through a place like M1 Finance, which I am an affiliate. So if you open an account through M1 Finance, I get paid. When you should do that because your whole point is to pay me money. But anyway, so an E1, an ETF, so I gotta ask you guys a question. Who was in the Army? Anyway, an ETF. With a mutual fund, you just throw the money in there and it automatically executes when it gets the money at 4 o'clock that day. An ETF won't execute. It won't buy into the shares unless you actually go and manually make a trade to buy the shares. And so if you're putting $100 a month in and you forgot a couple months to make the trade, it's sitting in cash. That does you no good. So I like mutual funds just because it's simple. Now with M1, you can do ETFs. It works like a mutual fund, essentially. It buys, it prices itself, executes the trades every day at 4 for even an ETF. And, I don't have a qualm with that. Some people say, you're not getting the most favorable share price. Man, for the long run, I literally could care less. But anyway, me, Nathaniel, I like index funds, so I don't think it matters much, but it just really depends on your circumstance. Let's see here. Hold on just a second. Oops. What did I do with the, hold on just a second. Well, how do I get the, you got to get the comments back right there. Restart. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. I'm going to pop that out. Pop out. There we go. I'm going to bring that over here. I'll go. Got it. All right. That's weird. All right, here we go. Hey, thanks, Harry. I don't care what they say. The boys in Texas are all right. All right. How does a 1.9% cost of living pension adjustment change the decision between taking a pension or a lump sum? That's important. Absolutely. But it really just comes back to what your distribution yield is. And again, it depends on your age. It depends on your married. But the way I look at it, if you take the amount you're going to get paid, say it's $100,000 as your lump sum, and they're going to give you $7,000 a year. That's a 7% distribution yield. If you can get a 7% distribution yield with a 1.9% cost of living adjustment, man, I'm taking that 90 times out of 100. The lady I was talking to earlier had a 7.2% distribution yield with no cost of living. I was encouraging her to take the pension, but she didn't want to. And then she said, I need to sleep at night, and that won't let her. So, yeah, I got no problem with that. That's her money. But anyway, if it's less than 5% distribution yield, hell, I didn't say probably less than 6. But if you get a cost of living adjustment, that's tough. But 5.5% or less, I probably would take the lump sum. 5.5% or more with a 1.9% cost of living adjustment, I'd probably take the pension. But I mean, I just don't know your circumstance. But that's how you look at it. I got $100,000 as my lump sum. I'm getting X amount of money. Divide those two numbers in. What is your distribution yield? If it's over 7% as 1.9% cost of living adjustment, I'm taking it. If it's over 6%, I'm probably taking it. If it's under 6%, probably not, but I don't know the circumstance. So, hey, Mushkie's on board. At age 59 is the point you can take. Age 59 is the point anyone can take from the 401k and IRA without penalty, but there are alternatives to doing that if you just know the tax rules. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, exactly. Scooby-Doo. They got a new movie coming out 2020 with Shaggy and Scooby. I can't wait, man. There you go. So Tom says, sweet. Right on, man. This is great. Seekingalpha.com, just type in the stock for the quote and then select the dividend tab. That's freaking fantastic, man. I love it. That is awesome. Actually, let's try that real quick. I don't know if this is going to screw me up or not. Hold on just a second. So we're going to try that with Seeking Alpha. All right, so let's see if I can't share my screen, shall we? We're gonna hit this. All right, let's go. I hope I'm on there. All right. Oops. All right, there I am. And we're gonna type in VDIGX. All right. I hope you guys can see this. I don't see my. And go to dividends. Yeah, yield on cost right there. Yield on cost. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so look here. Oh man, 5-year annual growth or 5-year growth rate on dividends, 32%. Annual payout trailing 12 months was paid 23 cents a share for the trailing 12 months. Last dividend was $6.13, semi-annual. Oh, it only pays twice a year, so they're going to pay a big one, I bet here. Estimates right there. Oh, you got to subscribe. Oh man, yeah, rat thing. So let's go to dividend history, and we're going to go to 1220. So the doesn't say what the. Oh, here we go. Yeah, right here. All right, sweet. So there, this is what I do right here. Whoever said that, oh man, this is freaking right on, man. This is awesome. They basically pay 30 cents a share on this is Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. They pay 30 cents a share, a semi-annual dividend last year. So I'd say add, again, I'd add 6% of that. So whatever that is, that's another $1.80. So you probably say 32 cents a share if you had this fund. That'd be a good place to start for sure. Now here they had a special dividend. That I'm not sure what that's about. That's a big deal right there. $1.24. That's a big deal. That's called a special dividend. Sometimes they do that. I don't know why. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why. I don't know why they did this one specifically, but that's not likely to happen again. I don't know. There we go. They did 2017. They did 5 cents, 70 cents. Yeah, that's odd. Why they got a? It's a semi-annual, but they have these other ones. Ooh, so yeah, this is a tough one. Look at this. They have all these special dividends. Every year they got special dividends. Look at that. That's yeah, I would so you can kind of go there's 25, 32, 53 cents. That's interesting. Just curious. Oh man, look at this. Dividend right there. I want you to look at yield on cost. Let's go back to summary. And where was the yield on? Did I go to dividends? I think. Yeah, yield on cost. I bet it says what your price would. I was hoping it might allow you to put a price in there and tell you what your yield on cost was. Yeah, I guess it does. I know it doesn't make any sense to me. I see what they're saying. So right now they're saying it's got a dividend rate of, I think it said 0.75, but if you bought it 5 years ago, you get a dividend rate of 0.99 because that's your yield on cost, literally. And I think right now it's, I think the dividend is like 0.73 or something like that. I guess dividend 0.76. There you go. So if you bought it right now, you got a dividend yield of 0.76, but your yield on cost, if you bought it 5 years ago, you got a dividend yield of 0.99. That's your yield on cost, which is exactly what I use. That's not a dividend yield, man. Freaking hell it is. It is too. I bought the stocks at a certain price in 1999. It's paying me a dollar amount of this dividend. To buy the dollar amount of this dividend by the price per share, that's my yield on cost, or what I would call my individual dividend yield. Oh, I forgot 10 years. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah. This is this is awesome. Tom Major. I don't care what they say, man. You're a good man. Look at that. So if you bought this guy 10 years ago, your dividend yield for you specifically, Mr. and Mrs. Investors, 1.74. If you bought it in 2003, your yield on cost is 2.7. That's freaking fantastic. I love it. I can, man, see, I got to stop this share. There we go. I could eat that stuff up. I've never looked at that website before. That's freaking awesome. Oops, I got to go back to right here. Hold on a second. Boink. Store chat. Hold on just a second. Pop out. Go there. And go here. Oops. Oops. Ah. All right, there we go. Cool. Good stuff, man. All right. What happens if your premiums for life insurance, if you're a non-smoker and start smoking afterwards? Essentially what happens in that case, if they catch you with, I think it's the first 2 years, I think is what it is. If they got nicotine in your bloodstream for the first 2, it depends. If they got nicotine in your bloodstream and you die within the first 2 years, I think they adjust your premiums as if you were a smoker. I don't think after, I guess it depends on the policy. I'm trying to think what it was at USAA. I know they adjust your premiums if they're going to adjust your change. They don't get rid of the death benefit. They just adjust your premiums to take it. So essentially you got $1 million death benefit. They charge you $1,000 of total premiums because they thought you were a non-smoker. They later on find that you're smoking 2 cartons of Cools a day. They say, we should have charged you $10,000 of premiums instead of $1,000. We're just going to take it from the death benefit. They don't renege on the policy. But I think after 2, I guess it depends on the policy. Seems like my one at life at USAA, they had 2 years, and after that, it was nothing. So I don't know. Yeah, well, Don B says second to die life insurance makes no sense if the survivor needs the insurance settlement and there are no heirs. I completely agree. The question was, we're leaving it for the grandkid. All right, that's the whole point, was what can I set up for a beneficiary inheritance for my grandchild? So inherently, we're not using it for Charlotte at my death. Inherently, we're leaving it for my unknown grandchildren. I hope there are many little scandals running around there at some point. But that's the point about second to die life insurance. We're literally not paying out on the death of the first. We're paying out on the death of the second. So if I die, Charlotte gets nothing. That's the benefit. So I'm not sure how I could have been clearer on that. But if I wasn't, you don't buy second to die life insurance if you want your spouse to have life insurance at your death. You don't do that, or a life proceeds at your death. Single payer healthcare kicks in. Who knows? Maybe 3.8% Obamacare tax will go away. And I'll be able to fill the 20. Ray Dalio's company's in Marystown. Wow, you live in large next to old Ray, Mary. Right on. That guy. I don't know much about Ray Dalio. I don't know. I hate the thing about the rich and you pay more taxes. And we can't do it. I can't write that check until the government forces me to. The IRS. You can go on the IRS.gov and it says, you want to give us money? More power to you, Ray. Hey. Yeah, exactly. They say that LT Gray says they want to keep the pitchforks at bay. Why do you think all the rich guys are always throw in with the left? Because they know the right wingers like old Josh here. I don't have the time to go with pitchforks and rally in New York City to freaking protest on a work day. I got to go to work, man. I can't protest. I don't have a trust fund granddad to hook me up with cash. I don't have George Soros funding me. I got to go to work. We all got to go to work. We don't have time for all that crap. The Antifa and all these clowns, they get to freaking party like it's 1999 because they're all trustafarians. They're all living on daddy's money or George Soros. We know that. And so what Bill Gates and all these guys say, yeah, we want to pay more tax. Just when you take the pitchforks, don't come to us. I did think it's funny. Lloyd Blankfein, whatever his name is, from Goldman Sachs, he said something funny. Look, man, these rich guys, I don't trust any of them as far as I could kick them. Which I should have been a punter in the NFL. I could have been the next Ray guy. But anyway, so he was saying, which is pretty funny, because he was taking issue with Bernie going after rich people. He goes, yeah, Bernie's always been jealous of me Bernie's always looked down on me because Bernie grew up in a richer neighborhood in Brooklyn than I did. I tell you, man, I tried to not to paint everyone with a broad brush. But I always find the richest liberal elitists are always from rich families. You know what I'm saying? I say always with a quote like that, but I just thought that was funny. The Lloyd Blankenfein, who I probably agree with literally on nothing, but when he said that about Bernie Sanders, I chuckled. I wonder what Bernie Sanders' background is coming from. I guarantee wealth. And I don't know. I didn't look it up. I just chuckled at that because I said, "Yep, true words cannot be spoken." Chelsea Clinton, I remember when she got married to that rich guy, hedge fund manager, who was the son of a congresswoman from Pennsylvania, who was brought in on Clinton's coattails in 1992, who just the rich elitist. I'll never forget Chelsea Clinton sitting in front of one of her Brooklyn brownstones, whatever the hell they're called, saying, "Yeah, money was never really a concern of me. I didn't really care about it. It's not something that's important to me." As she's going to NBC as a reporter, making $600,000 a year. Okay, Chelsea, you could have volunteered for that gig. Okay. Yeah. All these guys, they just talk to keep the pitchforks at bay. That's what I like about Steve Forbes and some of the guy from Whole Foods, the guy from the Liberty freaking tax, what's it? McAfee, John McAfee, Harry Brown. They say, yeah, we're trying to get rich. Absolutely, because rich people help the economy for sure. It's the rich elitist do-gooders who hurt the economy because they're the ones who throw money to the left-wing socialists like George Soros. All right, Bridgewater equals Westport, Connecticut. Right on, right on. Okay. July is the best time to buy a car. Yeah, new tax form. I'm not familiar with the new tax form for retirees. My wife is showing me the new 1040 coming down the pike that will have capital gain, a line item for capital gains, which the older ones do not. So I'm not familiar with that one, my man. I have to ask my CPA working firm. She's not a CPA, my better half, but she works for a CPA firm. And I got to see what Mike nominates me for hottest working man on YouTube. I appreciate it, Mike. I'll take that award when it comes. I haven't seen the new 1040R. I haven't seen it yet. Interesting. If my ETF gets exhausted, would you do early Social Security or Roth account? Well, taking money from the Roth? Okay, so it sounds like my man Matt Burns, Mr. Burns' son. Excellent. Matt says, if my ETF gets exhausted, would he take early Social Security or Roth? I'd take Roth. Roth. Look, man, I like to reduce risk as much as possible. The one way to reduce risk is to rely more on Social Security. Oh, but the Trump is going to take away your money, or Elizabeth Warren's going to take away your money. It's not going to happen, man. Stop with this crap. It's not going to happen. We're not in Chile. We're not in Argentina. We're not in Greece. The Social Security is strong. It's not as strong as it could be. The fixes are quite easy and simple. And even if we don't make any massive fixes, if you look at the Social Security Trustees report, there's a whole lot more optimistic than what people are recognizing. And so I would take Roth early. That way I don't have to be in the market. I mean, think about it. Would you rather rely on Social Security or your Roth IRA to live on for the rest of your life? I'd rather rely on Social Security. That's all there is to it, because I don't trust the vagaries or the variabilities of the stock market. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. The variability of the stock market while I'm trying to live. But Social Security, I know for a fact. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to do 2 videos. What the left gets wrong about retirement planning and what the right gets wrong about retirement planning. Because apparently I'm coming from the right. And I kind of am. I'm more of if you got the left over here and the right over here, I'm like up here. I'm a libertarian right wing, a libertarian nationalist. But anyway, the right gets some stuff wrong about Social Security too. And I'm going to talk about retirement planning as well. And I'm going to talk about that. So I would much rather rely on Social Security if the things are mutually exclusive now, Matt. If I could only have one or the other, I want Social Security. I don't want my Roth. Maybe you could hire someone to do the editing for you. I don't really need it that much. Oh, for my course, I'm okay with it. I mean, I don't know, man. I just right on. I remember you from last week, Pete. Right on, man. My brother went to Chevrolet. My sister went to Macaulay. I went for one semester to Portland High School. I went to one semester to Cape Elizabeth High School. And I remember sitting in Cape Elizabeth High School. Cape Elizabeth, Maine is like where all the rich people live in Maine. And my mom, she met a guy, an old man, let's just put it that way, who needed someone to take care of him, and she needed someone to support her, and it was a mutually beneficial agreement. I got no qualm. My mom was raising 3 kids on her own, and it's tough, man. It's tough back then. It's tough now. That's why I got nothing but sympathy and respect for freaking working moms trying to raise families. Anyway, so it's an agreement, mutually agreed to help each other. Anyway, when I went to Cape Elizabeth, I'll never forget. Remember those videos from like Karate Kid or whatever it was, where he was from New Jersey or something like that, and he goes to the rich California. I can't remember, but anyway, that was kind of like me. I didn't know any karate though, or karate. I just knew I could play baseball. Okay, but anyway, I'll never forget. I got made fun of quite a bit, as a matter of fact. It lasted until baseball season came around. Then they had a pretty good baseball team, but I could play too, so I was able to at least show my worth on the baseball team for a little bit. But anyway, long story short, I'll never forget sitting in class today, and some rich girl said, "What, you think we're from Portland High School or something like that?" And then they all just like quiet. It kind of dawned, and then she goes, "Ooh, yeah, I didn't mean that." I was like, give a crap, whatever. But the funny thing was, because even though I lived in Cape, we're still poor kids from Peaks Island. You know what I'm saying? And I still had wearing my cousin Dale's clothes from California. I was like 5 years old by then, and we had old shoes. Just those. Those kind of memories do haunt you. I'm not gonna lie to you, they do haunt you, especially towards rich kids. And that's why I think with rich kids, why my biggest fear for me is my kids being not given the opportunity to find their own way, if that makes sense. And my wife and I are both victims of that, because she had 8 brothers and sisters. Her dad died young. She shared a room with 2 of her sisters. She remembers the smell of cat piss on her freaking clothes and stuff like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is we both come from that background, and we both don't want our kids to go through that, but we both know there is value in there. So I'm not sure how to weigh that, to be honest with you. And you do the best you can. But anyway, so Portland High School, I remember we used to have open campus back then. It was awesome. So we'd sneak off, me and my man Bobby, my best friend, and we go to Burger King. So you got commercials. So you got Portland High School is like right downtown. You got Burger King here, and then you had the boat. So you take the boat to get into school. But by then I lived in Portland with my dad, and so I used to walk. So anyway, long story short, so we'd skip a class. This is my freshman year, my first semester in freshman high school in Portland. And we skip a class and go meet at Burger King, which is right downtown on Commercial Street, Congress Street, I think. Yeah, Congress Street. And we smoked cigarettes in the Burger King. Then we would just walk back to class, no big deal. It was like awesome. Now it's like my daughter is saying, literally, they got people literally patrolling the school grounds. I said, that's freaking prison, dude. That's nuts. No wonder why our kids are snowflakes. They can't freaking do anything on their own to figure out their own way. Like, she literally... Oh my God, if you only knew Chloe, how insane this was. She left. Don't tell my wife. My wife will kill us. I just gotta look over my shoulder, make sure Pablo doesn't have a GoPro. Anyway, my daughter left campus on high school one day. She had study hall, so she snuck off campus to go to Starbucks or Publix to get a snack. I can't remember what she did, but it's just right behind. And you go through this little trail. And she left campus, and she said she had to hide under cars to dodge the security guards who are patrolling the area. I said, this is like a freaking jailbreak, Chloe. He's like, you should be in sniper school, man. So she's like, if you saw Chloe, how just, oh my God, how laid back she is. The idea of Chloe bouncing from car to car to avoid the freaking security guards. I said, oh, it was awesome. Chloe, she's the best. Got to go walk the dog. You got it, Mary. Everyone click the like button right on. Much obliged, Ben. Does Obamacare subsidy apply on income from previous year? I think it did. Dogs are fun too. I think it did. I think when I was trying to apply, I think it was our previous year. I don't know if anyone else knows. But I remember I asked what your previous. Yeah, I'm almost positive. It said you qualify for a pretty significant discount. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's previous year. Is for the income of last year. So we have this fear monger in the office who's trying to convince others they need an annuity. We have this fear monger. Oh, in the office, okay. Even though we have a pension from the Fed, what do you say to such a person? I say, why do we need an annuity? David, you always got to ask the question, why? Because you're going to run out of money? Okay, well, why do you think that? You always got to ask why. Why do we need? Why do we need? I think it's rule number one. Why? If they don't have a reason why, then say, what are you trying to? I mean, why are you trying to scare us into this need of an annuity? I don't get it. So anyway, I would say ask them why. And his answer, because we're going to run out of money. Say, well, we have a pension. Why do you think we're going to run out of money? My man Rob would know the Socratic method or whatever, just asking like, what is going on here? We're going to run out of money. Why do you say that? Because all the research says it. So does it? Is the research correct? I mean, make this guy he's staking his claim on the ground. Make him justify why he's doing that. Why do you say that, Doc? What's going on? What's the point? The fear mongering say it's got to stop. What happens if they're wrong? Kind of like the climate scientists. Shh. What happens if they're wrong and they're just fear mongering us? Why do you believe that? What if I could show you that that's not likely to happen using real world numbers? The BLS, Consumer Expenditure Survey, CFS, CFS is a survey of consumer finance, SCF, that's what it is, a survey of consumer finance, the HRS with the Health and Retirement Survey over at University of Michigan. There's a litany of different things that show us people's spending goes down, not goes up. As I say, until I'm blue in the face. So any fear monger out there say, okay, the actual facts say we're going to spend less. What do you say about that? And then what they're going to say is long-term care, guarantee. Say, show me the facts about people. I guess it's back there. I was looking for my book that people spend huge amounts of money on long-term care. I want to see it. If he shows you that 64% of the population will need some form of long-term care, you can't make that. That's not saying, A, we don't know that'd be true, but B, that just because people need some forms of long-term care does not equate to people running out of money because of long-term care costs. It's silly. The whole thing's stupid. So it's okay. Where's the evidence that people run out of money because of long-term care costs? And then finally just say, if all these people run out of money, as a fearmonger say, then how come every single study they do on retirees is high satisfaction? If not, it's satisfactory for retirement, if not high satisfaction. The vast majority of retirees. How could that possibly be? How can all these retirees be out there, study after study after study, be satisfactory in the retirement, if not high satisfaction, if we're all running out of money? It doesn't compute. And the answer is he won't know what the hell he's talking about. It'd be fun to challenge him, David. Just say, hey, tell me more. Why do you think? I just say, hey, why? Why do you think that? And see what he says. Report back. It'd be fun. It'd be fun. How does an autistic child play into filing for Social Security at full retirement age? Autistic child. Man, I don't know. Hello, Lydia Santiago. Hello. How does an adult autistic child play into filing for Social Security at full retirement age? Because you get the benefit of the person you got to take care of. I don't know. That's a good question. You'd have to definitely dive into that a little bit more. I just don't know. Oops. Great. How much is the site, Tom? The Seeking Alpha site. I see they got a subscription. I don't know how much it is. Here's Miss Constitutionalist. She's talking about the guy who asked about autistic child for Social Security. Okay, yeah, so that's good. Man, look at that stuff, man. Way to go, Miss Constitutionalist and Daniel. So the adult autistic child has been drawing SSDI, disability income, well before full retirement age. I would consider drawing before full retirement age because he can also receive your benefits. He will lose his Medicaid though. He can apply straight with the state for Medicaid though. Man, look, that's well beyond my pay grade. That's freaking awesome. Misconstitutionalists, man, you got to start your website or your YouTube channel before they take it away and preach about the word of the Lord. Because remember, misconstitutionalists is an atheist libertarian, which are fine, fine groups of people. I just love, I like libertarians. I like atheists because I think they're more often than not well-read, well-regarded, and understand more than just a lot of Christians, frankly, about the Christian faith, which is sad. But I'm a big fan of having good, and I think atheists actually, by and large, are eager to debate. I like that. Whereas the climate science fear mongers are not eager to debate. The vaccine people who want mandatory vaccine are not eager to debate. They just say science is on our side. You fool! You should be banned from society. Blah blah blah. That's not fun. But atheists are very eager, and actually, if anything, as the Christians that have driven a lot of people to atheism, because we're not eager to debate. We just said it's in the Bible, and that's not good enough, man. You got to know your stuff. Anyway, I find it interesting. All right. Seeking Alpha is great, worth its subscription price, says Mark. And here's my man, JD. When comparing lump sum to single life pension, how do you factor in your age? How does it change the percentage that you mentioned? Single life at 56 and a half years old specifically, what percentage? And I just think if it's less than 6, I'm probably not doing it, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm probably not 5.5. If you're single, 5.5. Maybe split. Can you do both, Jill? I mean, if you can split it, that's probably the best way. Because what if you're wrong? I mean, it's always is what if you're wrong. So if let's say you got $200,000, you can do an annuity for $11,000 and have no liquidity, or you can do $200,000 rollover and have no annuity. What if you could do $100,000 in the annuity and get what's that, 5,500, and then get $100,000 to grow? Theoretically, yeah, that's what I'd do. I'd probably split the difference half and half. But I don't know if the plan allows that. That's what sucks. So Mike says they say there should be no billionaires. I say there should be no multi-millionaire politicians. My man RV, think of drawing Social Security pension at 3% withdrawal rate instead of 7% withdrawal rate and losing out on future returns. Well, that's the concern. What if we don't have future concerns? I mean, look, I'm literally not a pessimist. I got no bonds, but at the end of the day, I got no qualm with that. But just remember, you might not be losing out on future returns. We just don't know. I mean, but with that said, the growth rate of earnings, even on the lower end of the equation, are still 4.5 to 5%. I mean, that's the lowest growth rate on earnings year over year over the last 5 years. That's still pretty good. You factor in year over year earnings of 4.5 to 5% plus a 2.5% dividend yield, right there, you're still getting a 6 to 6.5% rate of return. Will that continue? I have no idea. None. But that's the risk, though, my man. That's the risk. Hey, Josh, I didn't hear your answer because you froze. Do you agree with Dave Ramsey? Pay off debt first. Do I agree to pay off debt first and then resume retirement contributions? Yeah, I mean, if you're 59, Mushke, and you're looking at retirement in 2 years, it'd be freaking awesome not to have any debt. That's for sure. I don't even care about the interest rate. I care about I don't want to say that. I'm saying somewhat facetiously. I care more about the outgoing cash flow, the cash flow. So just get it done, and then you'll be done with it for sure. And then you can, I mean, because you're literally saying it's not so much about the interest rate anymore. It's about the outgoing flow. So if it's costing you $350 a month for a car payment, you pay it off, you've inherently saved yourself $350 a month outflow, regardless of what the interest rates are. So I just pay the thing off. Absolutely. Yeah, when I was in middle school, we used to ditch closed campus to go to lunch. The vice principal drove an orange VW Bug that was the easiest spot from a distance, hidden bushes. Yeah, Dan, we just ditched the whole day. No need to get off campus that way. Man, that's why I had to go in the Army, because I ditched the whole day. Let's see, I probably would show up for the first or maybe third period. My man Greg and I would go drink some vodka, and then we'd drive around drunk as skunks. And then I'd never make it back to class, probably for 6th or 7th period before baseball practice. and then go play baseball. And then this other guy, what's that dude's name? There's another guy I used to know. Then we do more than just drinking vodka, if you know what I'm saying. Whew, and let's put it this way: I never got my homework done, and it was let's just put it this way: I'm lucky to graduate high school. That's all I got to say about that. And Seeking Alpha is $20 a month. Oh yeah, that's man. I'm not gonna do it, but I'd pay. Man, hell, maybe I will do it. I gotta see what they offer. That sounds like good. Right there, Miss Constitutionalist. You work for the freaking SSA. Man, you gotta be doing this stuff. Oh, you got freaking wealth information up in that noggin of yours. Oh man, look at you kicking butt and taking names here. I love it. Good job on you. This kind of stuff you can't get. Hell, I don't know. Tom Major doesn't know. I'm just picking on you, Tom, because you're the first name that came out there. But you have you got a knowledge that you should use. My man Sergio here knows about reverse mortgages more than I know about Tom Brady's favorite food. I don't know. I know enough, but I know also if I need a question about reverse mortgages, I go to my man Sergio there. Now he lives in California. We won't hold that against him, but he knows about reverse mortgages. Miss Constitutionalist knows about Social Security because she works there. What are you doing there? Good boy. All right. You okay? You okay? You want to come up here? Hold on just a second. There you go. Good boy. Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah. There we go. Here's my sleeping beauty. Do you know if anything about Fidelity's brokerage link option in a 401k? Yeah, I'm not sure, Jesse. Jesse says, do I know about Fidelity's brokerage link option in a 401k? If that's where you can buy and sell individual stocks, I don't think there's any downside. Fidelity's a good company for sure. Spectator, I say that, man, I agree with this 100%. I say there should be no multimillionaire politicians if they didn't have it before getting elected. 100% agreed. Harry Reid, Trent Lott, the list goes. Paul Ryan, all those Democrats. The list goes on and on and on. Great conversation, I said, Marie. Thanks, Marie. Yeah, I agree. All right. I did want to read something real quick. Who do I still got people on here or not? Let's see, Pablo. Still got 136 people. All right. Wait. There we go. Oh yeah, I love my man here. I'm trying to think. Life before Pablo. I just want to read this to you. This freaking makes my day. So bear with me just a second while I read this email. If I can find it. Hold on just a second. All right. This lady writes to me saying, great news to share. I'm going to retire from my crappy old job because of you, Josh. She goes, you are a lifesaver. I tend to be a worrier and a perfectionist, but you push me over the finish line with confidence. I could say thanks, but no thanks to making a 50-hour-a-week job into an 8-hour one that I didn't even enjoy anymore. Could care less about that money in exchange for time and to live and be happy. Why waste a decade of my life if I did not have to? What is the value of the extra decade of life? I say it's priceless. Thanks again. Keep smashing them. Let me tell you, man, that stuff I hear like that is worth any hell of a lot more than freaking anything that, YouTube's going to pay me. My God, that I can't even begin to comprehend or say how much I just, those things, if that doesn't get you fired up, nothing else will, because that's what it all, that's what it's all about, man. Helping people helping people. That's why I just love seeing people on this channel helping other people with their questions, thoughts, concerns. Look, going back to Sergio, just use that. He's given a lot of great insight on reverse mortgages. Now, you may or may not like it. That's fine. But you're better educated because of Sergio's comments. Miss Constant, hey, Tina. All right. I gotta love Tina. Anyway, and my man, and Miss Constitutionalist, I don't know who she is, but she works at SSA, and she's just helping our man with an autistic child. I was freaking just, I it's freaking awesome. I love it. I cannot tell you how appreciative I am of that. It's freaking awesome. Love it. And I just it's like you know, I just think it's great. You're helping people out with the knowledge that you have. I have knowledge on this stuff because I've been doing it for so damn long, but I don't know about all the intricacies of Social Security disability income. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Having a dog is one of life's pleasures. Yes, it is. Even when he poops inside the house and it stinks, literally. When I was in the army in Honduras, we used to have to burn our own poop, and this smells worse than that. This little 10-pound dog, he's probably 14 pounds now, maybe 12. What comes out of his butt smells worse than the poop we used to have to burn in Honduras. We pour all that poop with Mogas, and I guess Mogas is a combination of diesel and regular gas. I don't know how that worked, but anyway, and you have to burn it, and you stir it with this like freaking stick. Oh, this right here, this little guy smells worse than that. It's freaking crazy. I would give it up to the world. Anyway, here we go. Theo says he used the Fidelity Brokerage link inside his 401k to give me more. That's freaking awesome, man. Awesome. I should interview Miss Constitutionalist if you can. I 100% agree, CJ Poley. If she ever, the drawback about that is, frankly, if she still works at SSA, she might not have the feeling that she could. She might not be able to give more than what I'm saying. What's the word I'm looking for? The level of authority without it seeming like she's representing SSA, if that makes sense. All right. You ticked me about Pablo. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the more right here. So how would we incorporate Miss Constitutionalist into an answer and question without her giving up hey, you're a stage in Tegucigalpa? No. So I was in Honduras in 90, and we went Joint Task Force Bravo, is that what it's called? And we went to Sotocano, Tiger Island, and then some mountain place where the Air Force had satellite combo, which we just guarded. Anyway, be interesting to see if we could incorporate Miss Constitutional somehow on SS. I don't know how to do that, but we'll have to think about that. All right. Harry says, put it on for tower for a while. Transfer to Wichita. All right. Okay. All right. Good stuff, man. All right. Right on. All right, Harry. That's good. So you're able to do that and still move to Oklahoma. Nothing wrong with that. Just stay safe on them roads, brother. All right, my friends. I guess we'll call it a career. Right on, Tom. That's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah. That's Sotocano Air Base. We had some drunken nights down there. 19 years old. Thank God I'm alive. That's all I gotta say, because I do like a beer or 20. All right, my friends, I'll do some more videos tomorrow. Be on the lookout for my course. As always, if we'll see you next Sunday at 7:30 Eastern time. Now that the Patriots won, you can go home and put your pretty heads in bed at night saying, yes, Tom Brady, you're the best. I'm going to take Stinky Butt for a walk there. God bless y'all. All right, see ya. All right. How do we black over our face? Yeah. End meeting.